join our Shabbat together. And as always, we join Shabbat. We start Shabbat with our deep breaths. So we take a deep breath in and count to 4. Release. Now, our next breath, when we release, we'll let go of the week and the stress and everything that got in the way and didn't allow us to be our best selves. Then our next breath, we'll breathe in the sweetness of Shabbat. And now we join in opening song.
Yes, tonight we're going to sing Ki Eshmera Shabbat. Ki Eshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Ki Eshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Oti leomea beino uveini. Oti leomea beino uveini. Ki Eshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Ki Eshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni.
And we turn now to candles and Kiddush. If you want to light your Shabbat candles together, offer Kiddush together, please go and grab them while I share the screen. All right. We gather the candles light in our eyes as we bless your name, even as our ancestors blessed you from before and rested smiles upon our faces. Beloved Creator, you fashioned Shabbat and wrap around us the light of your peace, even as we praise you, even as we bless your name.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who makes us holy with mitzvot and who teaches us to kindle the lights of Shabbat. We turn to Kiddush. The heaven and the earth were finished in all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God stopped on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on that day God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. I lost my place. Oh my gosh. V'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציון מצרים. כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים. בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Amen.
L'chaim.
Sorry about that.
It happens to all of us. One of our there have been many prayer books in the Reform movement, and we might not be aware of all of them. I grew up with a prayer book called Gates of Prayer, and it had a blue cover. So I grew actually almost the same color as our slide, and so I grew up calling it Gates of Blue. And so this was one of the readings in Gates of Prayer that I loved. It is evening, and children slowly dream away the storms of day. It is evening, and stars glow gently in the quiet heavens. Can we understand a dream? Find a net to capture the meaning of a glowing star? What bridge spans the vast space we must cross to reach understanding? How small are we who attempt the journey? And yet somehow we learn to find our glory in a brave and endless struggle to comprehend eternal mysteries. We are voyagers in an infinite sea, our destination always beyond the horizon, but we are voyagers. Part of our voyage is with prayer to give us not just an opportunity to connect with God, but an opportunity to slow down and connect with ourselves. The Baruch Hu is saying, we're really ready to pray. We're really ready to pray, and whatever that means for each of us. The Baruch Hu is our call to worship. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed.
Bless the source who spins day into dusk. With wisdom watches the dawn gates open. With understanding lets time and seasons come and go. With awe perceives the stars in lawful orbit. Morning dawns, evening darkness. Darkness and light yielding one to the other, yet each distinguished and unique. Marvel at life. Strive to know its ways. Seek wisdom and truth, the gateways to life's mysteries. Wondrous indeed is the evening twilight. The watchword of our faith.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We take a moment now to give thanks for our freedom, to give thanks that we were thousands of years ago liberated from slavery, and to recognize that every time we sing Micha Mocha, that there are so many who are not free. And they're not free for in many different ways that we experience slavery. May it be physical slavery, emotional slavery. There are so many different ways. And so as we sing the Micha Mocha, we reconnect with our obligation to have everyone be free.
Mocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot ol sefelet, Nora tehilot ol sefelet, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Malchutecha ra'u v'anecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze'elianu ve'amru, Ze'elianu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai.
We turn now to Hashkivenu, which is our evening lullaby. It is the song where we recognize our need sometimes to ask for protection, for help. And so Hashkivenu reminds us that this is that prayer. This is that prayer that says it is time to ask for God for Sukkot Shalom, for a shelter of peace. We sing Hashkivenu together.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom. Vehamidenu malkeinu lechayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from
Shamru is one of the sort of turning points of the service. It gives us a space in between the Shema and the blessings that come there, and the next section, which is the Avod, the Imahot, and the Amidah. But it also reminds us that we are here to celebrate Shabbat, which is joyous, and also to give us a deep breath, Vayinafash, to renew us. And so we sing the Shamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
So we turn now to the Amidah, which is our standing prayer, and it reminds us that we are, oh, what happened here? That we are, it's really hard to do 14 things at once sometimes. That we are digging a little deeper into our prayers, whether it's about slowing ourselves down, connecting with God, really connecting with the screens that are around us, even though we'd rather be hugging each other, that we are digging that. And then we're reminding ourselves that we stand on the shoulders of those who come before us, that God's greatness and the sacredness of this day. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el hagadol hagibor v'hanora, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישוע, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
So we take a few moments now to think about all of that for which we are grateful, those values and those personal things that have happened to us that we remember and give thanks for, keeping it within those things that are um, really about who we are and what we are in our lives, because there's so much that has been hard and so much that has been challenging. And yet there are personal joys and blessings and moments of gratitude. So, using the chat, which for most of us is at the bottom of the screen, take a few moments to share that with the community.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech hador lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech hador lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Reading those blessings and moments of gratitude is really a highlight for me. Thank you for sharing with us and lifting up this community. We lift up this community in other ways as well when we are struggling, when there are those of us in this community and beyond, those whom we love and care about, who are struggling, who are not well, whether it be a spiritual struggle, a physical struggle, mental illness, and the many other ways that we are not okay. And we lift up all of those whom we love with our Mishaberach, with our prayer for healing. And so at this time now, we use our chat again and we use our chat again to share those names of those whom we love with permission, and let them know through our prayers, through our song, that we care about them and that we're offering them just a measure of comfort through the care of community and prayer. We take a few moments now for silent prayer and reflection. That was beautiful, Deb. Thank you. So this week, just the other day, was Tu B'Shvat. And you may have grown up learning a little bit about Tu B'Shvat. Uh, Tu B'Shvat is the new year for trees. And you may have remembered that it was, when if you grew up with the JNF boxes, right, you would make a special drive to plant a tree or something like that. Or you may have learned a little bit about the trees in Israel. Tu B'Shvat sounds like a very fancy name. The word tu, every letter in Hebrew has a corresponding number. So tu simply means the number 15. Be is in, Shvat is the month of Shvat. So Tu B'Shvat sounds fancy. It simply means the 15th of Shvat. Sorry, it's not that fancy. So Tu B'Shvat is the 15th of Shvat. It means it's really the new year for trees. What is a new year for trees? Let me give you a little tiny piece of Talmud, of text study that's fascinating. From the Talmud, from the tractate Rosh Hashanah, it says, the month of Shvat is the new year for trees. What is the reason? Rabbi Eliezer said in the name of Rabbi Oshaya, because by then the greater part of the year's rain has fallen. So if you've been to Israel in February, it's much warmer than it is in Cleveland. And what has happened is it's the rainy season. So it's rained and rained and rained. And so what Rabbi Eliezer has taught is it's the new year for trees because most of the rain has fallen. And so what is it? And so then the text goes on to say, what's the sense of this? It says, it means this. Although the greater part of the rain has fallen, the cycle is yet to come. So it means that the greater part of the rain has fallen. It's in a pause. It's starting to show something that we don't know about yet. The greater part of the cycle is still to come. Continues Rashi, Rabbi Shlomo ben Yitzhaki from the 11th century in France, says, since most of the seasonal rain has come, it is the time when the sap is rising and the trees and the fruit begin to ripen. So it seems like things aren't happening, but it's when everything is happening. The sap is making its way around the tree. The buds are just beginning to start. And so it might seem like the trees are, nothing's going on, but it's when everything is going on. So it's a new year for trees because they're just getting started. And I believe that this has an extraordinary message for us, not just because we're in the doldrums of a Cleveland winter, but because we've been doing what we've been doing for more than 10 months. We can be like this new year, right? That a sap is going up and building something. We have the same potential as a tree. So too, like a tree, we have the potential to draw up emotion and faith and potential to become something new. Like a seed that disintegrates in a soil and seems like it won't become, it can become the next level. Like fruit that sprouts and becomes a tree, we too can do the same thing. We must not become disillusioned when we feel like nothing is happening, when we feel like we're in a low period, when we feel like there's nothing that's going to branch out and become beautiful. Our high periods, our blossoming, our sap will happen. It will come again. And I think this is such an extraordinary message of Tu B'Shvat. Tu B'Shvat is also considered a mystical holiday. It's not only about the trees. Even when we feel like we are lethargic in a rut and seem to have lost our drive, we don't have to despair. The annual hiatus of the life of the trees is similar to our lack of productivity. It will come again. That life-giving sap is just wandering around in there, and we will have renewed energy. And who knows what will blossom. And I believe it will be extraordinary. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
That's beautiful, Rabbi. When you told me, when you taught me about this and about what Tu B'Shvat means in this other context, it made me think of a beautiful piece that I want to share with you tonight by Beth Schaefer. It's called Still Small Voice. And the reason for the connection to me is that she's saying if you just are still and mindful, you will hear that voice. You will hear God's voice and the things that are ongoing, and you will feel that energy in yourself, and that we're all a part of that energy. So I'd like to share that with you now. The sun is much more brilliant, shining on the ocean. The rain is more majestic, beating on the ground. A flower paints its colors, blooming in the desert. Tear can warm my cheek as it trickles down. Oh, I hear your still small voice whispering in the west wind, rushing down the mighty river, all rising with the dawn. But when I stop to listen, it's gone. Ooh, ooh, oh, oh. The sacred conversation happens without planning in the theater of the holy. The script ceases to be. In the moment, time is hardly standing, measured by awareness. You are measuring me. The momentum of the spirit shouldn't be disturbed. In the noise of life you live, if only to be heard. Oh, I hear your still small voice whispering
That was beautiful. Thank you, Deb.
Mhm.
We continue with Aleinu, which is our connection with God as our partnership to make the world a more perfect place. Please rise in body or in spirit. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spreads out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else.
ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. We turn now to our time of memory, to our time of remembering. I bring to you a new poem to me that I found this week by poet Deborah Cash called Mourner's Kaddish for Every Day. Build me up of memory, loving and angry, tender and honest. Let my loss build me a heart of wisdom, compassion for the world's many losses. Each hour is mortal and each hour is eternal, and each hour is our testament. May I create worthy memories all the days of my life. And this Shabbat, we remember in Shloshim in the first month since their death, Elliot Herzog, Sophie Steinbach. And we remember the yahrzeits, the anniversaries of death that fall on this Shabbat. Dr. Alexander Victor Bartow, Barry Bashkoff, Rose Bauer, Leon Frank Bialowski, Betty V. Bluffstone, Louis Burring, Nancy Lang Castle, Baruch A. Feldman, Stanley Fisher, Corrine D. Fields, Mr. Howard Friedman, Henry Friedman, Betsy Tudor Galvin, Zelda Glick, Herman Goodman, Mildred Sigel Gordon, Margaret Wise Green, Rose First Green, J. Iglauer, Mark Jonas, Cecil H. Copperman, Roslyn F. Copperman, Anne B. Lutrin, Reinette Madow, Ivan Melzak, Ann Miller, Erwin Arthur Newman, Milton Prince, Farouz Raffaelli, Sarah B. Rogat, Evelyn Singer, Kenneth L. Skull, Louis Snow, Sadie F. Weil, Mary Zone. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled, and together we join in the mourner's Kaddish. Please rise in body or in spirit. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divra hirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uv'chaye t'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach leolam almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yit hadar v'yit haleh v'yit halal shemei dekudisha barichu le'ilam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu bi'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen.
May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and give comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. Our closing song is Adon Olam.
Yes.
And which version, Deb?
Well, I'm going to do the call and response because I love to sing together, and that's the easiest way for us to do that. Is if I'm calling the words and you're singing them back to me. So I love to watch us singing as a community. So I hope you'll join me. Adon olam, asher malach, Beterem-Kol, Yetzir nivra, le'et nasa, v'chefzo kol, azay melech shemo nikra, Adon olam, ve'acharei kichlot hakol, levado yimloch nora, Adon olam, ve'hu haya, ve'hu hoveh, Betifara, Adon olam, asher malach, Beterem-Kol, Yetzir nivra, le'et nasa, v'chefzo kol, azay melech shemo nikra, Adon olam, vehu echad, ve'ein sheni, lahamshilo lahachbira, Adon olam, beli reshit, beli tachlit, belo haoz v'hamisra, Adon olam, asher malach, Beterem-Kol, Yetzir nivra, le'et nasa, v'chefzo kol, azay melech shemo nikra, Adon olam, vehu eli, v'chai goali, v'tzorchev li be'et tzara, Adon olam, vehu nisi, umanos li, menat kosi beyom ekra, Adon olam, asher malach, Beterem-Kol, Yetzir nivra, le'et nasa, v'chefzo kol, azay melech shemo nikra, Adon olam, beyado afkid ruchi, be'et ishan ve'ayira, Adon olam, ve'im ruchi geviyati, Adonai li velo ira, Adon olam, asher malach, Beterem-Kol, Yetzir nivra, le'et nasa, v'chefzo kol, azay melech shemo nikra, Adon olam.
You think maybe we'd done that before, Deb?
Once or twice. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May the light of God's presence shine upon each one of us and be gracious to us.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God lift up each one of us, and may God bring us shalom, peace, and wholeness. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
And Shabbat shalom. Did you remember the challah today?
No, we don't have any challah
It's
today.
oh.
We were so busy today.
Yes. Well, I have no challah. I only have chocolate. So